Coming up on the Nightly Review, a car crash in North Fargo damages a residence. Onlookers say one of the cars was stolen. North Dakota motorcycle fatalities are ahead of last year's deadly pace, and the fireworks at the fuel pump aren't keeping everybody off the road. Hello and welcome to the Nightly Review. I'm Steve Hallstrom in tonight for Tom Tucker. Leading our news tonight, Fargo police say a car crashed into a house in North Fargo this afternoon. It happened near 12th Avenue and 2nd Street North and involved two cars. A home was damaged after one of the vehicles hit it. Valley News Live reports that neighbors were saying one of the vehicles was stolen and speeding through the neighborhood. Police have not yet released details on the exact cause of the crash. Well, if it seems like there's road construction everywhere you look in North Dakota, you're not imagining things. The state's DOT says that on this Independence Day weekend, there are more than 200 road projects in effect for the summer, and that's double the usual number. DOT Director Bill Pano said on this morning's What's on Your Mind program on WZFG The Flag that there's been an influx of federal money to fund the projects and that the state has been able to find enough work crews to man the equipment. Meanwhile, the state DOT is making it easier for those who drive highways 83 and 85 in western North Dakota. Those highways will eventually become 4-lane highways. The work will begin on Highway 85 in Watford City. Heavy 4th of July travel is expected in North Dakota despite rising gas prices. AAA puts the nationwide average cost of gas at $1.70 higher than this time last year. In North Dakota, a gallon of regular unleaded is $4.68, up $1.70 from $2.98 a year ago. Experts say travel and tourism are key industries for North Dakota's economy. Holiday travel got backed up for many motorists on I-94 near Fergus Falls this morning, thanks to a semi-crash that sent multiple people to the hospital. The Minnesota State Patrol says a semi was traveling westbound near Fergus Falls on I-94 around 6 a.m. when it lost control and rolled onto its passenger side, blocking all lanes on that side of the roadway. 3 passengers sustained non-life-threatening injuries in the crash that backed up traffic for several hours. Authorities have not commented on the exact cause of the crash. Well, today is day one of a new law in South Dakota that proponents say protects fairness in girls and women's sports. Senate Bill 46 was the first bill Governor Kristi Noem signed into law during the 2022 legislative session. She says it gives biological girls equal opportunity and is heralded as, quote, the toughest law in the nation to protect women's sports. Meanwhile, college students and faculty in South Dakota will no longer be forced to learn about critical race theory. House Bill 1012 also takes effect today. Noem says the legislation prevents CRT from being forced on students. CRT is also restricted at the K-12 level in South Dakota and in North Dakota as well. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, a new law goes into effect today to allow people to eat or drink their THC. Anyone over 21 in Minnesota can now buy THC edibles and THC-laced drinks. Any store in the state can sell the edibles or drinks. The only catch is that the THC must come from hemp and not marijuana. People enrolled in Minnesota's medical marijuana program will have access to different edibles under state law. Recent deadly motorcycle crashes in North Dakota are bumping the state's mid-year total above last year's numbers. A total of at least 9 motorcycle crash deaths have happened so far this year, topping the 8 for all of 2021. North Dakota Highway Patrol Captain Brian Newen tells WDAY Radio that while the total fatal crashes in the state was 37 as of a week ago, down 10 from this point last year, the recent uptick has the Highway Patrol concerned about trends moving through the summer months. State figures show 64% of motorcycle deaths in 2019 involved drivers who were not wearing a helmet. The Fargo Dome says Maroon 5's upcoming stop in Fargo has been canceled. The show was scheduled to be part of the band's 2022 World Tour. It was originally supposed to be part of the 2020 schedule before COVID-19 forced a postponement to August 12th of this year. Only 2 tour dates remain on the Maroon 5 website, Universal Orlando Resort and Quebec City, Quebec. And finally tonight, a sports note for you. The Minnesota Timberwolves have reportedly pulled off a blockbuster trade with the Utah Jazz. The Wolves will get 3-time All-Star center Rudy Gobert. Minnesota will send guards Malik Beasley and Patrick Beverly, newly drafted center Walker Kessler, and 4 first-round picks, 4 of them to Utah, for the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Gobert stands 7 feet, 1 inches tall. Well, every day there's a lot happening in our community, and you want to stay on top of it all. So please take a moment to subscribe and hit the bell button below to make sure that you are always up to date. Weather-wise, we could not have asked for a better weather day to start our holiday weekend, but will it last through Monday? Here's meteorologist Dean Wysocki in the Skywatch Weather Center.
Thanks, Steve. A pretty decent holiday weekend setting up with tonight. Not too bad. We're looking at mainly clear skies. A few thunder showers possible southwest of the valley with lows tonight low to mid-50s. For Saturday, looking good. Partly cloudy skies. Highs around 80 with east-southeast winds around 5 to 15, so winds not that bad. Sunday will start out okay, but then a chance for storms towards evening with highs in the low to mid-80s and then scattered storms around the area as we head into Independence Day. So overall, a pretty decent-looking holiday weekend.
Tonight in our one-on-one conversation, 3 big questions for Shawn Dobberstein, Executive Director at Fargo's Hector International Airport. Earlier this week, it was announced that Hector is looking to expand from 5 gates to 9, among other improvements. Dobberstein says it's not yet official, but the need is there.
Yeah, we could use those right now. You know, we're overnighting around 7 to 10 airplanes, depending on the season, and they don't like to move airplanes. Right now, you know, if you have American with Dallas and Chicago in the morning, United with Chicago and Denver, Delta obviously with Minneapolis. It just allows them better opportunities, if you will, to better serve the customers, our mutual customers, so they don't have to wait to get access to gates and so forth. You throw in an occasional mechanical situation or a weather delay. We sometimes have aircraft arriving and there's no gate for them to use. So it does help with some of that congestion that a lot of passengers have experienced over the past few years, and provides additional opportunities to better serve our mutual customers.
If you're flying anywhere this weekend, you'll want to pack some patience. Nearly 3,000 flights today alone have been canceled. More than 20,000 have been delayed. Dobberstein says that pilot shortage that we've had for years is getting worse.
Yeah, the primary reason is the pilot shortage. And I've been involved at the national level for over 8 years, knowing that this pilot shortage was an issue prior to the COVID pandemic, and it's even worse now afterwards. There are, according to the Regional Airline Association, they're short over 12,000 pilots today that would be operating aircraft today as we speak that are currently parked because of lack of flight crews. Then you throw in some mechanical situations or a thunderstorm around one of the major hubs, whether it's Dallas or Newark or Denver, Chicago. It just, shuts down the entire aviation system. But I would think primarily today the cancellations that you're seeing are due to lack of flight crews. You probably read over the last few days that Envoy is paying triple time to their pilots to get them to come to work, and other carriers are trying to be creative as well to get their flight crews to work during this busy holiday season. So I don't think the passenger concerns and situations and frustrations, unfortunately, are going to improve anytime soon, just because of the situation they're in with flight crews and, like I said, the mechanicals and the weathers as well. There are a number of pilots that are waiting to get simulator time. There aren't enough simulators around the world for pilot training as they're getting into the regionals or get recurrent training for the majors. You take a look at the University of North Dakota or Ohio State or Central Western Michigan or Embry-Riddle, some of those large aviation schools. There are a number of students that are going into commercial aviation, but it takes a number of months and years to get them trained up to the 1,000 hours that they need to get their ATP to be a first officer.
Dobberstein says if there is some good news anywhere, it's that the airlines are figuring it out and not scheduling as many flights in the future.
They definitely are. I know Delta pre-canceled a number of flights this weekend, over 700 flights here a few days ago through the weekend, where they knew that they were going to have some issues. You take a look at Allegiant Frontier. You're starting to see significant cancellations of flights in the schedules between now and through the end of the year. So they're doing a good job as best as they can to try and anticipate what they're going to have for, the flight crews available based on the schedule that they would like to fly. And unfortunately, we've seen a number of frequencies here that have been taken out of our schedule. For instance, American Airlines has 2 frequencies to Dallas and 2 frequencies to Chicago. Normally, they would be at 4 frequencies to each of those markets. Frontier has informed us that they're going to stop flying on Wednesdays to Denver as they try to deal with the situation. We're looking at United dropping one of our Denver frequencies as their, SkyWest, the regional carrier, is dealing with lack of flight crews in their area. Allegiant has stripped a number of flights out of our schedule starting from June 1st through the end of August as they deal with flight crew issues as well. A lot of airplanes are parked, United, whether it's Allegiant, Frontier, American, a few weeks ago parked 100 airplanes. And I think more airplanes will be parked as they struggle to find workforce.
Dobberstein says a big issue for flight schools is that new pilots need about 1,000 hours of training before they get their wings, and the cost of that training can often exceed $200 an hour in the airplane. Now, I was told that there would be no math, but my calculator tells me that's about $200,000 in training costs alone. Wow. Well, that'll do it for this Friday edition of the Nightly Review. I'm Steve Hallstrom in for Tom Tucker. Tom will be back in on Monday for a special 4th of July edition of the Nightly Review. Have a happy and safe holiday weekend.